Hey, how's the beer taste?
Oh, it's good. Perfect.
Yeah, but how does it taste?
That's perfect.
It tastes like love.
Hey, welcome back. It's another of our Morning Hog brew review, this time with Maze. Look, Maze is here.
Hi, guys.
We've merged the night and the morning together to bring you a very exciting installment of our Friday brew review with Vinnie, of course, from SR Perrott. Let's hear it for SR Perrott, purveyors of all things that make you not thirsty anymore.
Absolutely.
And you're doing great work
Yeah,
at
we're
that, by the way.
trying.
So is Persimmon Hollow. Introduce our friends.
Absolutely. Well, from Persimmon today, we have Robbie and Andy. They're owners and brewers. And we have Josh, who is their sales rep.
And Josh is not standing on a box, by the way.
I'm trying not to.
Yeah, that's real.
Way too high.
Josh is not on stilts.
Yeah, you're going to have to see the video to really see what this guy looks like.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
People who are watching this on YouTube or on our website or whatever, don't adjust, don't tilt your. It's all. He's that big.
He's really that big.
Yeah, if Josh stands on stilts, he has to have FAA approved.
Really?
This is real life.
Is there? And look at all the fine beers that we have already that we haven't even got into yet. It's very exciting.
Yeah, pretty excited today. These guys actually brought us some of the beers in cans and some of the beers in growlers.
Love that.
Which we will let them talk about growlers and what they are and where you can get them and how you can do. We're going to roll with some of their beers, staple beers today.
Okay.
The first one we're going to work with is actually going to be Daytona Dirty Blonde, which I'm going to pour, and you guys can go ahead and talk about.
Beautiful.
Cool. Well, I'll tell a little bit of the story. Daytona Dirty Blonde is actually named for my wife. She's a fifth-generation Daytona native, grew up on Silver Beach Boulevard.
Perfect.
Happy wife, happy life. Named this beer after her. The reason we call it a Dirty Blonde is we actually use a little bit of honey malt in this, so it's going to be just a touch darker in color than a normal blonde ale would be. This beer won a silver medal at the Best Florida Beer Championships last year.
Nice.
It's a nice, crisp, clean, great hot weather beach beer. Lawnmower beer, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Great year-round beer here to drink in the area.
It's the now. I'm going to guess that when you're coming up with a name for a beer like this, and you like you said, you got an inspiration there, but did you have to clear it through her first?
This was actually a homebrew. This is a beer we named long before we ever.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
This is a name we've been using for 7 years.
Really?
This beer. Yeah, the brewery's been open 3.5 years now.
Yeah, just remember when you name a beer in your backyard, it might be put in a can and
Okay.
that might accidentally happen.
It's just like a good album title. You gotta come up with that before you even have the band together. Then
more
you work it in
important,
later.
really.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right. Oh man, I can see that. Now tell people who don't know lawnmower beer. What are we talking about? Just easy to drink, right?
Well, I want to make a clarification. You should not drink in lawnmower. That's a bad idea.
That's a great
That's-
point.
So you should drink.
Very smart.
You should drink
Yeah.
after you lawnmower, or if you've reached my stage of life, you drink while your kid pushes the lawnmower.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
the right way to do
Yeah,
it.
you sit on the porch with a beer in your hand and watch somebody else do it.
See, I gotta get that going because I'm still on the. How long is this lawn gonna take? The beer's waiting for me.
He's got a pamphlet on how to.
I need it.
Yeah.
I need this for sure.
Yeah, feeding him till he's 25 will definitely be worth all the time I get to drink beer. For sure.
I'm sure. Well, this is what the beer's paying for crying out loud.
Absolutely. I mean, this beer, 4.1%.
Yeah.
If you're looking to get into craft beer, this is definitely the one you want to go for. It's not too scary. It's super smooth and super easy. Definitely check it out.
And if you see the can sitting on the shelf, if you're listening and not able to watch us online, this can pays homage to Daytona's racing history. You've got sort of an homage to with the girl sitting on the race car on the beach.
Love it.
It really connects with the past glory days of Daytona. We like to think they're not all behind us; that there are glory days in the future as well.
Of course.
But this really pays homage to that and the history of the area.
And Daytona Dirty Blonde is actually available at Total Wines, ABC's, a lot of on-premise areas that we have down through here. I know they carry it up at Brass Tap up there in Palm Coast. They carry it down at the Half Walls and Abbeys down at the Land. And then, of course, you can go to Persimmon Hollow, if you guys want to give the address out for where that is, to try any of these beers that we're going to pour
Get
today.
to DeLand,
And our
right?
friends at Hooligans, you'll see this with posters on the wall at Hooligans. We sort of co-brand this Daytona Dirty Blonde with them. Hooligans, obviously, being a chain that started here, they really love having local beers on, and they take really good care of us and make sure this is out there. But the brewery is located at 111 West Georgia Avenue in DeLand, right in the historic part of downtown DeLand. Georgia Avenue has just been redone. It's beautiful, nice brick street, gorgeous. Come down and see us.
Open noon to midnight, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Look at
And it's
that.
actually in an old, was it like a 100-year-old parking garage, right? That
Yeah,
thing that you
it's-
guys took
it's been a
over
lot
and
of things over the
redid?
years. It was opened originally as a Dodge Farm Brothers truck place.
Yeah.
Truck-
Really?
They put the trucks together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a Western Auto storage facility for a long time. It was a furniture restoration place, and then more recently, when we got it, it was basically a car park.
And now it's one of the best things you can have, a brewery.
And I rarely, the only thing that makes cutting grass tolerable for me is what awaits you after. And this, you're right. This is the perfect beer.
This is
for
the
that.
right beer for after that. You
right.
got to admit. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice and refreshing. It's light, and I could see a few of these getting me drunk. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and one of the great things about beer in cans, some people may wonder why put beer in cans instead of bottles.
Yeah.
Especially where we live, cans are great because they go a lot of places that glass doesn't really go well. You know, when you're on the boat, you really don't want a bunch of glass bottles that you have to keep around. You can just crush a can, you can throw it, you can recycle it. All of our 6-pack toppers are made with completely recycled plastic.
Yeah.
Cans are infinitely recyclable. Care for Planet's a big thing that we're interested in, and taking care of the beaches and things like that. So that's why we do beer in a can. It's actually better for the liquid too.
Plus, one glass bottle will ruin an entire pool.
Yeah,
That
and-
mistake before.
right.
Yeah.
And listen, this is how I learned in a previous beer segment in Georgia one time about the skunky beer in the bottle. I didn't know why that happened, right? But
Absolutely.
you want to
Yeah.
briefly tell people why that happens?
Yeah, so different colors of glass allow different parts of the UV spectrum in. And so what ends up happening is it gets light pollution, which causes the beer to skunk.
Depending on the color of the glass, it could take up to 5 minutes to start skunking out.
Yeah.
Number one, and number two, this is basically a mini keg with the liners that they use in here now.
really?
It doesn't touch the can at all.
Yeah.
And this is pretty much what people want the beer to taste like. When they're pouring it off the line, it goes into here just like a mini keg. When you get it into bottles, you get a little oxygen in there, you get a little light in there, and this is much better for the environment as
Yeah.
well, cans.
I got freaked out because I realized how small that can is in your hand, Vinny. That's really a perspective.
It's like a grizzly bear.
It is. It's like if a
Yeah.
grizzly bear visited your beer campsite. And another thing about the can toppers too. This is a big industry thing that's only happened somewhat recently too, right?
Yeah, so they're stackable. They click on, they click off. We actually have just gotten a new model that helps the cans get out even easier.
Really?
People used to complain they were hard to get out. So they have new ones that are, they call it the easy on, easy off. So
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to get it out of there. But they are made of recycled plastic, and they are recyclable themselves.
Right.
So that 6-pack is 100% recyclable.
That's awesome.
Which is what we want. We one of our corporate values is we have a commitment to care for the planet. We actually partner with a local outdoor shop and 4Ocean, which is an ocean preservation group nonprofit, to do beach cleanups. We just had one for Earth Day on Daytona.
Nice.
Picked up, I think we got close to 2,000 pounds of trash.
Wow.
Wow.
And that was just, we went in front of Ocean Deck, who carries our beer, and that we partnered with them to have that be the gathering place.
Okay.
And we had about 300 volunteers who went north and south. The crazy thing was 8 weeks before we had taken another 2,000 pounds of trash off the same beach.
That's
Wow.
incredible.
So 4,000 pounds of trash off of Daytona Beach in a couple of months. Unfortunately, it's a job that doesn't stop. And so we just try to do our part and get our fans to come out, clean up
Yeah.
the beach, drink beer, and then we ask people to make sure that they recycle everything that they
That's
use.
the ultimate
Yeah.
incentive right there. You have some
Pretty
persimmon.
amazing,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, they got 4,000 pounds of trash off, but they left me on the beach.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. I was waiting. I was
Must have
waiting.
been doubled.
I was waiting to get lumped into that, Vinny. I appreciate you
It
looking
wasn't
me out of
around
that
the
one.
trailer for you, Vin.
There's still time though. All right, where are we going next, man?
We're going to go into the vacation wheat,
Okay.
which I'm going to let these guys talk about as well. And this is being served out of a growler for those of you on the video.
Growler versus crowler. Is it can versus glass? Is that it?
Pretty much, yeah. So you're
Dang.
there again. The cans actually seal a little bit better when you're going with them, but the growlers do just the same.
Yeah.
And the difference between a can and a growler is these are recyclable. You bring them back, they wash them, reuse them again. Where the crowler, once you use it once, you're done and you toss it. So it depends on how you want to work it and what you want to do with it.
Yeah, good. I thought I was nuts. I thought I was hearing it wrong for years. Have I been saying
Apparently, you got it
growler
right
wrong?
though.
It has been- Turns out I was only half wrong. which
That's right.
I'll take as a win. All right, so tell us about what we're going to be sampling right here.
So Vacation Wheat, it's a brand new beer for us, only been out a couple of months. It's a really clean American wheat ale that we then get local citrus from a farm in De Leon Springs, Volusia Farms. and citrus goes in and magic happens.
Okay.
And that's as good of a definition as I can come up with this morning.
One of the great things about being about local beer and what local brewers and small brewers do is that we're super passionate about the liquid, and it's not just about going and buying oranges from anywhere or going and buying different. If we can know the farmer who grows the stuff that we put in our liquid, we know the quality of what's going in our liquid. So Steve Crump and the team at Volusia Farms in DeLeon Springs, we know who grows our citrus for this. We go buy our citrus directly from them, and they love it. And Steve's a friend of ours, a guy I've known for a long, long time, and it's really neat to work with a local farmer.
This has a completely different citrus note than the last one.
Yeah, for sure.
What are we getting in here for this
Magic.
particular one? It is magic. Yeah.
And the magic part is really just the awesome brewer that sits there and processes the citrus. So there's fresh citrus in here. It's not juice out of a bottle.
Gotcha.
So he's actually sitting there and peeling and getting the zest off, and that goes in.
Well, I appreciate him.
Yeah, really, yeah.
He likes to be appreciated. We all very much appreciate
Because
the
we're gonna
magic that
you
goes
guys
in.
are getting the credit for it. So if
We'll give him. We'll pass it along. To him.
If you walk into the brewery while he's brewing this beer and he's sitting there zesting the oranges in front of you, because it's a large amount of oranges, the brewery smells so good. And Adam is our brewer, by the way. We need to give him a shout out. Adam's couldn't be with us today because guess what?
He's brewing.
He's brewing.
Oh.
Because,
Too busy.
Our team at SR Perrott's so good at selling beer, we just got to brew that beer as fast as we can brew it. So Adam's working really hard. So shout out to Adam.
Make some magic happen.
But
I love that.
But it smells amazing, and then you get a little bit of sweetness off that zest too. That's one of the things about using Florida citrus, using local citrus, is our fruit here is a lot sweeter than
It is very sweet.
say if you bring imported citrus in.
Okay.
A Florida orange weighs 3 times what a California orange does.
Really?
It's a little piece of science.
Really?
I did
the
not
sugar
know that.
content in the fruit.
Factoid.
Yeah.
I think that goes for the people as well, right? Everybody in Florida weighs 3 times more, because I know at least I do, than anybody in California.
Speak for yourself, dude. I'm trying to get skinny.
Is it also cool if I start using that as a euphemism? I'm zesting my fruit this weekend. I'm not going to be able to come over to your party or something like that.
Yeah.
I like it. I
You
think
can,
we
That's
should.
a great
call
excuse.
It the magic if
Yeah,
you want.
and I'll use the air quotes each time I do it.
You can over zest your fruit. Be careful.
Oh yeah,
It
well,
gets
trust
pithy.
me.
Very, very
I've got picture evidence. All right, this is great. This is and tell me again about wheat. I mean, obviously you're doing local ingredients, whatever. But how crucial is it to get the right wheat interaction when you're making a wheat beer?
All right, so the reason you use wheat in a wheat beer is you're going to pick up some of the sweetness. You're also going to pick up sort of a bread type flavor. It's one of the things that really separates wheat beers from other styles of beer, is that you're going to get sort of this bread thing in your mouth
Right.
that kind of lingers on your tongue,
Right.
And kind of hangs out like you've eaten a really good fresh baked loaf of bread.
Cool.
And so we try to not overuse the wheat. Some wheat beers can sort of taste like you chewed on a stalk of wheat, and we don't want to go to that place.
Right.
We use a good bit of Pilsner malt in this as well to give it that nice, clean finish.
Okay.
So you get the sort of lingering bread flavor, a little bit of the citrus, and then the nice, clean finish from the Pilsner malt.
Awesome. You can, and this is another one. This is new, but you can get this right now at Persimmon
This is,
Hollow. Yeah.
in the tap room, and also it's out in distribution.
Yeah, we have it in the market in some of our on-premise areas.
Yep.
Roll with it as
On
well.
draft?
On draft. And then they're also doing some stuff where they're doing some treatments with it. We have a blood orange vacation week coming out, correct?
Yep, blood orange is going to be coming out. We in the tap room on every Friday. We release something different, and so last week we had a raspberry wheat, just 1 keg of raspberry.
Amazing.
Wheat. Yeah.
Oh, I do. I'm mad now. Really?
That we didn't bring it with us.
It was
yeah,
delicious.
No, not mad at you for not bringing it, but
Oh,
I missed it. I had
You
no
got to
idea
go down.
about
I'm
the
telling you, the
raspberry.
wheat
But-
beers, when they treat them.
and vacation
amazing.
wheat will also be our next can. So this summer,
Okay.
coming right around June the 1st, vacation wheat cans will start hitting shelves. Still working that exact timing out, waiting on the cans to get here and the labels and everything else. But having that third can out on the shelf, you'll know it because when you look at it, it's going to have a really cool VW bug on the front with a big
Nice.
orange and a roof rack. It will be unmistakable that that's vacation wheat.
Yeah,
Do you
so-
guys all collaborate on the artwork and stuff, or is there somebody that gets the default on that, or is it a group effort?
For the most part, I mean, we work with a team of designers that we're comfortable with because we know that they produce incredible pieces for us. We do go back to somebody in particular every time, and that person happened to be the original. His name's Clark Orr. He's helped us through the process of the original branding package.
Right.
And so for important pieces like the design of a new can, he's our go-to guy.
Gotcha.
Incredible designer.
Cool thing about him, he's a world-renowned graphic designer, worked with multinational companies, worked with huge bands I can't even tell you the name because they
Okay.
don't like to put the word out there, but bands that you play on the radio.
This is
But-
what I wondered about because
But
these.
it's incredible artwork,
Yeah.
but he's a
It is.
DeLand native. He actually has a tattoo of the historic Volusia County Courthouse on his forearm. First time I met him, he was riding a longboard down the street in DeLand, right in downtown, and I thought he was a skater dude.
Yeah.
And then somebody stopped me and introduced me to him, and then I found out all of his credentials, and he's a friend and has ended up being our artist that does the majority of our packaging art, and it's just incredible.
Cool.
They do look like tour posters. Is
They
what
do.
Your cans look like, and then we talked about this about
I was gonna
things
say, we talked
popping
about
off
this.
the shelves and stuff. and
Absolutely.
this
So
is
these
another-
guys, when you put them up, we call it the billboard effect. You try to put all 2 or 3 cans
Yeah.
together. So when you're looking at it, it looks like a billboard, and these guys actually pop off the shelf. That's one of the reasons
Yeah.
why they're successful. I mean, the liquid is also delicious and amazing,
Sure.
but the artwork is amazing for people to catch that eye to see it. And
It
we
worked
talked
on, it
about
worked
that.
on me. It absolutely. That's my first time I walked in. I was like, I got to try that. It looks awesome.
Well,
It
beer's
tastes
just like anything else. I mean, you taste it with your eyes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
just like food, you taste it with the way it smells, the way it looks.
great, beautiful. All right, Vinny, what are we tasting next,
We are
man?
going to go ahead with the
Gypsy Hiker.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I
so
like the
we're
sound
going
of
to let
that.
Josh tell everybody about Gypsy Hiker.
Oh, Josh,
Guys, how we doing, guys?
hold on. All right,
All right.
Josh, tell us about Gypsy
So we got
Hiker.
this Gypsy Hiker. This is our brand new New England-style IPA. We're looking right at 6.3%.
Okay,
Not too many IBUs, international bittering units, so it's pretty right in the middle. I would say
Okay.
right around 40 on that.
all right.
Pretty much the New England style. You're going to have a nice, like, smooth, citrusy flavor on there, but you're not going to get, like, the hop bite that
Okay.
you're going to get in your typical IPAs. Super smooth in this one. We use Mosaic, Cascade, and Lumberjack hops.
Okay.
The Mosaic's
Lumberjack
really good.
hops.
Absolutely.
So what is
absolutely.
that? All right, tell me about Lumberjack hops.
Lumberjack's kind of a different kind of hop. Up north, we get this one from. It's going to have a little bit more bittering than some other types, but
Yeah.
it's going to smooth out from the Mosaic that we
Okay.
use in this one.
Okay.
This one pretty much is going to have a nice little slight haze to it as well, typical of your New England style IPA. Check it out, guys. See what you think.
It's
about
outstanding.
It is
man.
there again, like he says,
Fantastic.
you taste with your nose, you smell
Yeah.
that,
Yep.
real nice,
Yeah.
citrus,
Yeah.
and yep, absolutely.
So
What
this is our newest limited release draft only beer,
Okay.
and it's actually we put out the first batch of it a few months ago. It's the fastest we've ever had to rebrew a full batch of a limited
Oh,
release
wow.
Oh, wow.
because distributors picked it up, customers in the brewery were just going nuts for it. It was literally the number 3 seller behind Beach Hippie and Daytona Dirty Blonde every night in the brewery, and we were looking at the sales reports, and then we started looking at our dwindling inventory, and we were like, "Whoa, we have to rebrew that already," which has been a great thing.
There's a lot more kicking in this flavor of this beer.
You
Yeah.
get the juiciness. As
Yeah,
well
for
from it.
sure. That's
Yeah, so you get sort of they say a New England IPA should taste like you're biting into a piece of fresh citrus fruit.
Is that what the? Yeah, I was going to ask you about New England IPA. What would be the difference then?
So
Anthony?
so the style was sort of accidentally invented. Some breweries were just doing this was their version of an IPA. They didn't
Okay.
set out to create a new style.
Sure.
The most famous one is Hetty Topper from Hill Farmstead Brewery in Vermont, and people were drinking Hetty Topper, and then other breweries started making similar style IPAs that were real hazy and juicy and lots of fresh hops, but not a lot of bitterness. One of the best ones in the world is Maine Beer Company out of Portland, Maine. They're the opposite of us. They don't have fancy art at all. Literally, they have white labels with black type. And it literally just says Maine Beer Company IPA.
Low profile.
That's all
Fairly
it
to
says.
the
They
point,
sent that
yeah.
beer to the Great American Beer Festival when they won a gold medal with it.
Really?
People
Wow.
went crazy, and the sort of the style was born.
Okay.
And so this is a very trendy style. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. The hype
Yeah.
is super real right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a.
I can
there's
see
a-
why.
There's a bunch of versions out there from the major breweries all the way down to the craft breweries.
Yeah.
It usually happens that way. Somebody starts something, then they all kind of create their own version of it,
Yeah.
and then we move on to the next hot thing. So.
Yeah, I love it. That's my now. Beach Hippie was my favorite. That's my favorite. Can Beach Hippie now overcome it?
I think it has what it takes.
It's kind of like a race to the top now.
We're gonna see what happens.
Well,
Okay.
my one thing about you, Riggs, is that
Yeah.
you got some hippie in you.
I do
yeah.
a little bit.
A little
bit.
dirty
Yeah,
hippie.
yeah, and I'll roll around on the beach. I don't care. Put sand in my beer. I don't mind. How much of this process that you guys go through is straight up experimentation? That when you're coming up with something new, like what we just tried.
All of it.
All 108%.
Way more than we would like to admit.
Yeah.
So do you ever brew something that is just an absolute failure in your eyes, and you're like, oh, let's just scrap this?
No.
Yeah, so
That is the right answer. I love that. I love that so much.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have an absolute commitment to quality of the beer, and when you first open a brewery and you got to sell some stuff to keep the bills paid,
Yeah.
you may not be at a point where every brewery can make that choice. We have now reached a point as a brewery where if we make something and it doesn't taste right,
Yeah.
we do the thing that would make every beer lover cringe. We dump it down the drain.
It happens, right?
And that's terrible to say from the beer consumer side, because they think, oh, that's a terrible shame that beer gets dumped down the drain. But if it doesn't taste like we want it to taste, it's going to go down the drain. We just put in a new pilot system so that when we experiment with less ingredients, and we can do more rapid. We can put out more beers just for the tap room. So we're going to be rolling out a bunch more experimental
Really?
beers
Awesome.
for people to come in and
Okay.
taste.
So to give you an idea, their main system they use is a 15-barrel system. The new one they just bought is a 3-barrel system. So they're able to experiment on that. And if there's an issue, well, they dump 3 barrels versus dumping 15 barrels.
So to translate
sense.
that into quantity that people would understand,
Yeah.
that's our main system is 450 gallons. And Beach Hippie and Daytona Dirty Blonde, we actually brew double batches at 900 gallons per batch.
Wow.
The new system is 108 gallons at a time. So, a lot less ingredients to experiment with. Make sure we've got a new beer exactly where we want it before we roll it out.
Okay.
That is
Okay.
commitment to quality, right?
That
there.
it is commitment to quality. It is. What sets Beach Hippie apart for you guys?
Pretty much Beach Hippie is our core flagship beer.
Yeah.
We're looking at 7.1% on this
Okay.
one. Doesn't taste like a
No.
7.1% though. Super smooth. That's pretty much in part to the nice slight malt backbone that you have on the beer. Doesn't blast you away with the hop needles some of these IPAs do.
Okay.
The hops in this one, we're using Chinook, Sterling, and Cascade hops.
Okay.
Kind of just blends together to give you a nice fruity balance at the end, but with
Yeah.
that nice malty overtone.
Robbie, you're our dirtiest hippie at Persimmon Hollow. Talk about it a little bit.
That's the nicest thing that you have said to me in the last 72 hours.
Yeah. and I've never felt closer to Robbie than right now, to be honest
Easy.
with you.
I won't. I like to talk about Beach Hippie and balance. So we brewed it to be a balanced beer. We didn't want to make the hop bomb that scrub your tongue, can't
Yeah.
taste food the rest of the day.
Sure.
Those are awesome beers, and we love to drink them. We love to make those style. And now that we have a way to do it more experimentally and smaller risk,
Right.
absolutely going to pump some tongue scrubbers.
Double
Try
tongue,
saying that.
double tongue punch could be a new beer name. I'm just saying.
That's
We're going
a
to have
great
to
name.
remember that.
Yeah.
Easy.
Well, I slowed down to make sure I got
Just
it
the
out
taste
right.
buds. It's got a
Right.
fighter, and he's punching taste buds.
But Beach Hippie is more balanced, and so just even the idea behind a Beach Hippie, there's a certain balance in a person's life if that's where they spend their time.
Right.
So the beer was brewed intentionally to have a sense of balance between, like Josh said, the maltiness and the hoppiness.
Yeah.
Hoppiness.
I'll take it.
That
I'll
is-
take that.
You're doing really well with your
You
words.
definitely get the, and you definitely get the
Well,
malt.
It's the small pours.
Sounds like you studied before
Yeah,
you
so
got
you
here.
get some citrus hop notes, but you
Yeah.
definitely get the malt.
A
So
lot more,
a lot of the criticisms people have of IPA, especially if they may be newer to craft beer, or they're getting introduced to them, is
Yeah.
they'll say they're just completely bitter. They don't like the bitter taste of them,
Yeah.
and we tried to balance this with some sweetness of the malt. To balance out some of that bitter. There's plenty of bitterness there for people
Yeah.
that
Oh,
like
yeah.
IPAs. There's going to be plenty of it.
Sure.
But it's also an IPA that somebody who's just trying IPAs could try. And we've seen it at beer festivals and at different tastings where people go, "Ooh, I don't like IPAs," and we say, "Trust us, taste this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which scary. I mean, when somebody says that to you, but 99% of the time they taste it and they go, "Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty."
Yeah,
good."
that face that somebody makes when they take that sip of a thing that they know they're not going to like,
Yeah.
and it washes over their face that, whoa, that was good.
Right.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the most fun things, either whether it's across the bar, like Andy said, at a beer festival.
Yeah.
This is actually our number one seller for these guys,
Yeah.
in both can and draft. So
Yeah.
it's out there and it does very well. And like he says, it's very well balanced. We get it
It
into
is.
accounts that are just touching the toes in crafts and
Right.
just trying to figure out what they want. And like he says, you don't want to send a tongue scrubber in there. So our guys send in the Beach Hippie and it just kills out there.
Well, and I feel
people
like
enjoy it.
that malty overtone will take you from something. If you're drinking, something that is not an IPA, like you mentioned, that carry you over a little bit. So it might not be
kind
so
of gives you that
abrupt.
balance of,
Yeah.
of both the sweetness and the bitterness. So
Yeah.
you're not getting that bitterness in the back like we talked about.
Right.
Underneath. On
When your jaw
tongue.
starts.
Absolutely.
Right.
Where your jaw shuts up. And
This is
you
a
can't-
real thing for you. If nobody's experienced this, do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get a really
Yeah.
heavy IBU
So-
IPA, and you'll realize what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
It kind of tingles underneath your tongue and underneath your chin there, and you can feel it.
Yeah.
Where this is very nice, well balanced. You're getting that bitterness on the back that you want, the citrus on the back, but you're getting that malt forward. So
Right.
it's just a really well balanced IPA.
And
You
as
can
you
get
mentioned,
these cans at ABC, Total Wine, Sunoco gas stations,
Yeah.
some Wawa stations. Beach Hippie is sort of all over Volusia and Flagler County, racetrack.
We're actually, believe it or
groceries.
not, some Walmarts. We're also working into Winn-Dixie's, so you're going to start seeing them hit. We're working on getting them into Publix's, and
Yeah.
you're going to see them. It's a great beer that sells well.
And if you're traveling out of Daytona and you're going over to Orlando, they've got Beach Hippie on draft at SeaWorld. It's
Really?
the number one
That is
craft seller
fantastic.
at the Boathouse at Disney Springs. I mean, it's sort of going crazy all over the Orlando area as well. So if you're from here and this is your local drinker and you're going out to Orlando to have fun with friends, you can drink your local drinker out there, and that's a really cool thing as well.
yeah,
we
so
mentioned, I mean, iconic artwork on the can too doesn't hurt it. I mean, that is as familiar as you get with the Persimmon stuff.
I wanted to make
Absolutely.
sure because I don't think we said how balanced it was.
Yeah.
I don't think we used the word balanced
Is it balanced?
enough. So I want to balance this conversation out by saying balanced.
So what you're saying is,
One more
if a
time.
beach hippie could stand on one leg and kick a ninja kick with the other leg, that's how balanced it is.
Oh,
So
that's very good.
balanced.
Karate Kid balance.
Karate Kid kind of
Karate
balance.
Kid hippie balance.
Daniel's
Yes.
son.
And
Good enough.
to connect with music a little bit, some of you
Please.
out there may see a lady that's going around. She'll be in bars or restaurants, and she'll be telling people she's the original beach hippie. Don't want people to think that that's a fake story, because I've met 17
Really?
original members of the Allman Brothers Band and at least 19 guys that were in the Nightcrawlers.
Sure.
The crazy thing is, her husband actually was the drummer of the Nightcrawlers.
Really?
It's my mother-in-law, yeah, and she is not lying when she tells you that story. We named the beer. These beers sort of have connections that anybody could connect with. So Robbie's
Right.
a beach hippie. There's lots of beach hippies, but she grew up right here on Silver Beach Boulevard. There's pictures of her surfing at the Sun Globe Pier in the 60s with a big
That's
12-foot
awesome.
long wooden longboard.
Wow.
Lived in a commune in Colorado. She's the real deal. And so there are enough pretenders around Daytona. We don't want you to think that that's a pretender story. She
Right.
loves to, but not the band, the Pretenders. That would be
Right.
completely-
No, that would be really weird.
You're telling me that wasn't Elvis we met last week?
no, that's a karaoke guy. His name's Michael Leone.
Wow. See, I don't want to break. I don't want to break
What's up,
all the
Michael?
illusions.
How you doing?
There is a Santa Claus.
I
though.
just want to tie one more thing in. If you guys go all the way back to the Copper Bottom, when
Yes.
we talked about
Yeah.
Copper Bottom,
Sure.
they actually have Copper Bottom barrels in their brewery right now. And when they're done with them, they're going to send them back to him, and we're going to do that whole thing we talked
Oh,
about.
I like this.
That's very cool.
They're all friends.
So since Cask Mate has been taken, we're going to call it Barrel Buddies.
Easy.
Perfect.
It's perfect. Zesting the fruit and barrel buddies.
Yes.
Because they go together.
Magic.
It's better than zesting your
Magic.
barrel buddy, I guess.
I'm glad we didn't say anything we regret on this. Thank you guys for stopping by. This is for anybody who wants to chase you down and give them the address and stuff in DeLand so they can come and see you.
Open noon to midnight, 7 days a week, 111 West Georgia Avenue. And we don't always do the first part of our motto, but we always do the second. Drink sensibly, but get weird.
Yes.
Yes.
We always get weird on the web, PersimmonHollowBrewing.com.
Awesome.
At Persimmon Hollow for all the social media, Tweetstagram, Bookspace, Faceplace.
And you can also go to SR Perrott's website to do Beer Finder. You can go on there, look these guys up, and it'll tell you all the places you can buy it in cans or on draft.
That's right.
But really,
Yeah.
we do drink sensibly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Look at them.
always get
I mean,
weird.
they've been very sensible this entire time. Now it's going to get weird. So.
Cheers.
A little beach hippie action right here. And oh, let me say that, redheads are great, brunettes are fun, that dark hair with blue eyes, you can't be beat, but there's nothing better than a dirty blonde from Daytona right there. Ah la la. Come get you some, baby.